is Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here alongside Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. She is author of the book, Creating Calm Amidst the Storm. And I think right now, Phillis, we're in the calm before the storm is kind of what we're calling this time right
goodness,
now.
Yeah.
Last weekend before the election, there's a lot of concern about what will happen with the markets with either outcome, if either candidate is elected. So we're just going to jump right in today, Phillis, because I know you have some things we need to hear in these last few days.
Oh, my goodness. Here I go. I might even rant because I feel very passionate about this. I want to start off saying this. Look, I'm not going to share with you who I'm going to vote for right now. You may have some idea anyway, but the fact is I'm very passionate about who I think should be elected. Fact of the matter is, when we wake up the next day or whenever the election's decided, regardless of who is in, we really can't control that. We can't change that. I can't control that.
Yep.
I hope I can't control that, nor can anybody else. But I really want to implore people who've worked their entire life, who are getting ready for retirement or have already recently retired, to think about the things that you can control right now. So, yeah, I am going to be passionate about this. I actually put together a little checklist, for lack of a better word, of things that you can think about right now. Too often, when things happen in the market, like when the pandemic broke out and the market declined, people make knee-jerk decisions. They make emotional decisions. So I will say this, in my humble opinion, whoever gets elected, there's going to be a lot of volatility for a while. I don't know how long, I don't know how much, but I can almost bet. If I'm a betting girl, there's going to be volatility. So with that being said, let's say that you just, with everything going on, you haven't done what you know that you think you should do and put together a plan. You hear it from me every week, but you just haven't done it. What are you going to do now? What are some things that you can do that can put you in control today? I'm going to give you a quick list. Number 1, 6 months worth of cash. Eyeball it. If you need it, if there's volatility, where can you get 6 months worth of living expenses in cash? Where's the best place to take it from? Do that before you have to make an emotional knee-jerk decision. Eyeball it, and if you need it, you've got that already put to the side. Number 2, I scream about it every week, the redheaded stepchild. Taxes. What are some things that you can do from a tax perspective that could ultimately help you out on what you're going to pay in taxes now and in the future? One thing you can do is, let's say you have some bragging rights, some stocks that are way up, and you've got a loser on the other side, and you're not sure when it's going to come back. What about some tax loss harvesting, where you sell off a gain and you sell off a loss, and it mitigates the taxes, it zeroes you out? That's one thing that you can look at. How about, let's say, I've been speaking to a number of people who have some stocks that are out of favor now, value stocks, great dividend, good story, but well down below where they bought it. How about this? If you like the stock, you're disappointed in it, what about if you sell it now, realize the loss, and avoid what's called the wash sale? Wait 31 days and buy it back. It's not going to go up all that much in 31 days. And now you've realized the loss for tax time. Number 3, a lot of people, unfortunately, because of COVID, maybe you made less money this year. Maybe you didn't. Taxes, I say it every week, they're on sale right now. We are at historically low marginal tax rates.
Right.
So now's the time to really begin looking at, whether a Roth conversion is going to work for you. Now, it won't save you money this year necessarily, but it will way down the road when taxes go through the roof. We are not going to see these marginal tax rates much longer, and they're a lot lower. I can prove it to you. So even if you haven't got that plan together and you're nervous, don't freeze. At least be prepared with these simple steps. Those are things that you can control, and you can do it now. Now, in a perfect world, you want to create calm amidst the storm? You need a plan, a complete retirement plan. And geesh, I just happen to know somebody who can help you with that. What are the steps to that? Well, you need a realistic budget that's inflation adjusted. You need an income plan. You need an income plan that says whether the market's up, down, or sideways, here's how much you're going to get, here's, when you're going to get it, and here's how long it's going to last. Laid out, written income plan. You need an investment strategy that really conveys your comfort with risk as well as how much you should have at risk. Understand how much risk you're taking in your investments and have the appropriate tools that reflect where you should be at this point in your life. You need a tax strategy, not just tax preparation, not just worrying about how much you're going to pay this year coming up, but looking out into the future, looking at your future tax liability. Because, when you have to start taking required minimum distributions, they go up each year. What is that future tax liability? We can show you factually what your future tax liability is based upon today's rates. We can lay it out for you. And if you have a future tax bomb, let's figure out how to mitigate it. There's tons of strategies, and the clock is ticking on those strategies right now because rates are on sale. Healthcare strategy. Now's the best time as you build your income plan. Look at the best way to mitigate future healthcare costs by leveraging your own money today. There's a number of different strategies out there to leverage your own money. Everybody has their own financial DNA, so what's going to work for your neighbor may not work for you, but you should be exploring all the different ways that you can protect yourself from a future healthcare crisis. As we age, you may need custodial care. I hope you don't. But if you do, it can unravel anybody's retirement plan. I've seen it far too often. And you know what? You need powers of attorney as part of that plan, so that if you become incapacitated, your loved ones can act on your behalf, can act on their behalf. And your hard-earned money, if you want to make sure that Uncle Sam doesn't get any more than their fair share, his fair share, you want to make sure that you have an estate plan that reflects your wishes, all the documents in place. So today, if you haven't done that, okay, take those steps that I talked about. If you're ready to make sure that you don't have to live this day again, because believe me, there'll be chaos again, pick up the phone, call us for a Retire Fit analysis. We'll go through our proprietary process, which is a discovery meeting, discover what's on your mind, what you want to accomplish in retirement. We'll go to an observation meeting that will show you where you are in relationship to that. The way to get that done, 623-792-5496. Or go to retirewithpsp.com and sign up for an appointment online. 623-792-5496.
Talking today with Phillis Saxbill-Venus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates, author of the book Creating Calm Amidst the Storm. And Phillis, I think just a couple of things to keep in mind, again, as we have had so much turmoil and chaos this year. I really like your point of plan what you can control. Take what you can control and work around that. And you just have to kind of shake off all of the things that you can't control. And the other thing to keep in mind, Phyllis, no matter what side of the political spectrum that anyone is on, no matter what ends up happening this week as far as who ends up in the White House for the next 4 years, you're the one in charge of your retirement. It's still on you. So we need to kind of focus on that one thing over everything else rather than the political part of this, right?
Absolutely. If you truly have a retirement plan in place, you feel bad for all the chaos around you, but you know what? Your income is solid right now, whether the market's up, down, or sideways. You're protected. Your hard work is protected. You have got a moat around your retirement plan, and that's what I hope for everybody. No, don't panic. Don't make knee-jerk decisions. Make well-informed decisions and build your holistic, personalized retirement plan. That's what we do all day, every day. Love to walk you through the process. It all starts with a Retire Fit analysis. There is no obligation. I'm not sure I can help you. I'm not sure we're a good fit. I'm not sure you want our help. But it's complimentary, no obligation, and the way to get started is to call us at 623-792-5496.
And you can also check out the website retirewithpsp.com. And Phyllis, as we talk about tougher times, as we talk about storms that we have already weathered as a nation, I mean, right around this time in 1929, that was the stock market crash. One of the worst market crashes. Black Tuesday wiped out thousands of people. It started this spiral into the Great Depression. I mean, things feel really chaotic and really tough now, but we've gone through these things before, right?
Absolutely. And again, control what you can control. Make sure you have even a temporary plan, because things like that are going to happen. But then there's another day.
Yes, and we just need to keep that in mind going forward. We look back at some of the things that have happened in history, things like what happened with the Great Depression. We've all heard those stories from our grandparents, from our parents about what life was like back then. And there's certainly some lessons there for what we can take going forward. And I'm not saying that we're getting ready to go into anything like that here in the future. No. But it's just important to be ready for all scenarios. I mean, we still just don't know what 2021 is going to bring us, right?
Oh, my goodness. Who would have thought 2020 would bring what it's brought us? Yeah, but the fact is, control what you can control. Take care of your family like people. One thing that came out of the Depression, anybody that I know that lived through the Depression, their parents, the values, the work ethic, the strength, the never give up, all of that, the resiliency. That's all good stuff. So, I mean, I don't think it's going there either, but the idea is get strong with what you can control. You can't control the outcome of what's going to happen with the stock market. Other than your vote, you know, who gets in the White House is out of your control. So control what you can, your retirement plan.
That's exactly right. And to get started on your retirement plan with Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus and the team at PSP and Associates, 623-792-5496. Again, no matter who is in control of our government, who is in control of Congress, who's in control of our state, you're in control of your retirement, and those decisions matter. 623-792-5496 to reach Phyllis Pilvinus and the team at PSP and Associates. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Why choose PSP and Associates to handle your retirement? Because we provide objective advice and concierge service. Investments, insurance, retirement planning, all at one location. We also partner with qualified attorneys and CPAs to provide complete financial strategies for our clients. We use a variety of investment and insurance products to custom design retirement plans that can give clients a clear look at their future. And we help you stay on the path toward financial independence. If you don't want to do it yourself, you want to work with a team to create a financial strategy for your future, give us a call, 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496. Would you rather get retirement advice from some TV show host who doesn't know anything about you, or PSP and Associates? 623-792-5496. PSP is a registered investment advisory firm. Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus is an investment advisor representative and insurance professional. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal.
Thanks for joining us today. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here with Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. And Phyllis, picture a 5-star luxury resort. Pretty easy to do around here. We've got them, right? Luxury resorts with
wouldn't that be nice?
The scenic views and the top-notch customer service. So put that on one side of your mind and then clear your thoughts a little bit. Now picture a run-of-the-mill roadside motel. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
These dives kind of alongside the road.
Oh, yeah. You just ruined a good thing.
Sorry.
I was having a tropical drink, sitting by the pool.
And then how quickly things change. A roadside motel, just not going to get that 5-star rating because a few things are missing. I'd say something is missing. I think a few somethings are probably missing. And when we think about our retirement, I want you to visualize these two things and ask yourself the question, how many stars does your retirement plan have? We want that 5-star rating, right, Phyllis? We want all the pieces. So if we're trying to get ready for retirement, how do we make sure our plans have a 5-star rating?
First of all, you've got to know what you want retirement to look like. But here are the 5, what it's going to cost you to retire in the style that you would like to retire. And here are the 5 main points that we believe you're going to need to achieve that 5-star rating.
Okay.
You've got to have a reliable income plan for the rest of your life. You have to have a wealth management strategy, decide what you need the other monies to do and when. What's the job of that money, as I talk about? Oh, here's a good one. A tax efficiency strategy. You've got to understand your future tax liability and have a plan to handle it. A plan to address health care. The costs of health care are astronomical, and without a plan, it could undermine all your years of hard work.
Wow.
And an estate planning strategy. You've got to have the right beneficiary so your hard-earned money goes to whom you want it to go to. And while you're alive, even if beneficiaries aren't a thing for you, if you don't care what happens, we're going to bounce the last check. Powers of attorney for healthcare and finance so that someone can help you make the right decisions if you can't make them.
Wow.
Really, really important. All these pieces fit together like a retirement puzzle. Income plan, wealth management strategy, tax efficiency strategy, a healthcare strategy, and an estate planning strategy. That's how you get a 5-star retirement plan.
That's how we get them. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly how we get.
And we're calling them stars to go along with this theme of the 5-star resort versus a roadside motel. But really, we're just talking about the key components of a solid retirement plan. So you got to have all those things in order to have that 5-star plan. So let's start with the income plan here, Phyllis. What's the first step for building that reliable income plan? Because people don't always have things like pensions and some of those things like they used to.
That's exactly right. And you know what? In retirement, without cash flow that you don't have to worry about outliving, you really don't have a retirement. It's just like if your paycheck goes away while you're working. There's a problem, right? Same thing in retirement. So if you're fortunate enough to, first of all, you've got to know, again, start with realistically, and this is hard, okay? Everybody thinks two schools of thought. Either you're going to spend a lot less than you did when you were working, or you're going to spend a lot more. You're probably wrong on both steps. So let's spend some time understanding, painting that picture of what you want retirement to look like and what it's really going to cost you. And of course, we have to include inflation because inflation never sleeps.
Right.
And then once we understand that, let's understand what your reliable sources of income are. So we have to, analyze if you have a pension. What is that pension? Are you going to take a survivor option for a spouse? What's the best way to take the pension? There's a number of reasons today why you might want to consider a lump sum pension, and then sometimes not. So let's go through that. Let's make the best decision. Social Security. After we look at your whole situation, let's not just maximize and get a higher monthly payment every month, but let's optimize. Let's keep the most that we can for your particular situation. So once we understand the reliable sources that you have, what's the gap? How much do we have? So let's say you need $10,000 a month, and from pension and Social Security, you've got 3. Now you get $7,000 a month, which you have to factor for inflation, that we've got to take out of your investment portfolio. Right. When are we going to need that money and how are we going to need it? We've got to set that up reliably. And when we do an income plan, there's different strategies, different ways that we can create that. 3, just very quickly. Sometimes we're going to use a percentage rule. We're just going to, if your gap's not real high and we're going to just take a certain percentage out of that portfolio every month to make up that deficit. If you have enough money and that's the way you're comfortable and we can lay that out and prove it and pressure treat it, that's one way. Sometimes they call it the 4% rule.
Right.
I refute that a lot, but that's for a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You were probably worried I'd go on a tangent about that one, right?
Well, but it's an important one to think about if it's a strategy that people have or an idea that people have, but the math just doesn't really work out anymore, right? I mean, that's kind of what you're getting at.
Yeah, oftentimes people think they could just take a certain percentage and it's easy. Unless you lay out the math, more times than not, it won't work. Okay, it's not for everybody, even though you hear about that. That's the most popular method. Another method, sometimes people are comfortable saying, look, I just want to know that absolutely those bills that I absolutely have to pay and those things that are non-negotiables are going to be paid. I'm going to go to my checking account every month and I'm going to have enough to cover those bills, just like a paycheck. We take the very least amount of money out of your portfolio and we cover those things, whether the market's up, down, or sideways. And the rest, okay, if the market's good to me, I'll take more vacations, I'll do other things. Another way of doing it, and I talk about this a lot, is either time segmenting or bucketing. When are we going to need the money? Are we going to need it now? Are we going to need it soon? Are we going to need it later? And based upon when we're going to need it and how much we're going to need, we set up different investments with different expectations. So if we need it now, we don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. We want our money safer. If we're going to need it soon, we don't want it to be very risky, but we can take a little more risk than if we need it now. And our later money, depending upon how much later, degrees of later, we can take more risk. Those are the ways that we can build an income plan. And you got to have a solid income plan. Everybody retiring should be able to look and say, okay, here's where my income's coming from, no matter what's happening for the next 5 years. Here's where it's coming from after. Here's where it's coming from later. Understand that, a written income plan. You know, our Retire Fit analysis process will walk you through all of this. What are your budget goals? What's your income plan now? Does it work? What's happening with your money? And you know, at the least, we'll show you how to put together the right income plan to get you to and through retirement safely. Think about it. Can you imagine living longer than you expected or being in your 80s and finding out then that your withdrawal strategy didn't work? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? The Retire Fit analysis will really focus on what is the right income plan for you. There's different methods, but they work differently for everybody. You should have it customized to your situation. To get started on your Retire Fit analysis, there's no time like the present. Too much is going on. You should pick up the phone and call us at 623-792-5496. 623-792-5496.
This is Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. I am Jen Rezac, happy to be here alongside Phyllis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. That number again, 623-792-5496. And Phyllis, as we talk about all of these pieces of the plan and you talk about some of the ideas that people have, something like the 4% rule that we were talking about a few minutes ago, it's just important that people understand the difference between having a bunch of stuff and wanting to just take money out of it when you need it versus having the kind of plan that you're talking about. Because the Retire Fit analysis and the type of plan that you can build, that's what helps us get through retirement. It's not just having a bunch of savings and then taking money out when you need it and just hoping that everything turns out okay and then it lasts. I mean,
yeah, that's like opium, right?
Right,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, people during these problematic times, people that we work with have found comfort because they know that their income is going to be there. Mm-hmm. They have real expectations, and that allows them to enjoy retirement. I always tell people we like to build boring retirement plans so that you can have an exciting retirement. We plan for the worst, hope for the best. We want to take the least amount of money out of your portfolio and build a strong income plan, and the rest, let it be home run money. And that really gives people comfort. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not Houdini. I don't know what the market's going to do, but if I know what it is that you want to accomplish and we understand what's happening in your money, we can customize a plan that can give you that certainty. So you're not wondering and second guessing, oh, do I have to get out of the market now? Oh my gosh, it just went down. Do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? A real written income plan will solve that for you. It will tell you, should you retire today? Can you, should you wait 3 years? Are you going to pay too much? And it will lay everything out for you. So the number to call to get started now, 623-792-5496. And I'm saying it urgently because it is urgent. A lot of things are going to be very up and down this year of the election. Very tumultuous, okay? And if you have a plan in place or you're working on one, you're not going to make knee-jerk emotional decisions. Get the facts in place. Be the CEO of your money. 623-792-5496.
Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus is founder and president of PSP and Associates, and I am Jen Rezac alongside that number again, 623-792-5496. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phillis, and we'll be back on the other side of the break, so stay with us. Thanks for joining us today. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. I'm Jen Rezac, happy to be here with Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. She is author of the book Creating Calm Amidst the Storm. RetireWithPSP.com is the website if you'd like to learn a little bit more. Talking today about creating your 5-star retirement plan. And we're calling it a 5-star plan because that's kind of a system we can all relate to. You look at ratings and reviews of hotels or restaurants, and you know what a 5-star plan is or what a 5-star hotel is versus a 2-star hotel. We kind of know what that means. We're calling them stars, but we're just talking about the key components of having a solid retirement plan. And one of those key components is having some sort of investment strategy. So let's talk a little bit about that for a minute, Phyllis, because conventional wisdom says once you get to retirement, you don't invest anymore. You're doing that during your working years, and then you go super conservative in retirement. Should we still have some of our assets invested in the markets even after we get to retirement?
So everybody has their own financial DNA, but it is extraordinarily rare that someone feels comfortable to retire where they don't have some money for the long term invested in the market. Inflation never sleeps. You could live much longer than you think, and we all know long term that the market is very strong. It does come back if you leave it alone and, for the long term. So I would say that, people should have some money in the market. But the key is you've got to understand how much risk you can take, when you're going to need the money, and how much you should have there. But I believe everybody should have a well-diversified plan, but a plan, right. Not just a medley, not just stuff. Yeah, you can't be too conservative. And again, when we go through a process and we lay out, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Here's what it's going to cost us. Here's what we need for income. Here's when we're going to need that income. Here's what we're going to pay in taxes. Here's what inflation's going to do to our plan. When we lay it all out, it becomes very clear what's appropriate for you. That's our Retire Fit analysis. 623-792-5496. It puts you in charge, makes you the CEO of your money.
I think so many people like the sound of that, being in charge, being the CEO of your money, because a lot of times we feel like this stuff is out of our control, right? We can't control what's going on with the markets, so we feel like we're just kind of along for the ride. We can't control what's going on with tax policy, but when we take the time to work with someone like you to do the planning, we can take a little bit more control. That's the difference between tax planning and just getting your taxes done and tax preparation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to make this point. I go back to the Retire Fit analysis process every week because this is a different stage of life. I'm not trying to force our services down anybody's throat, but it's a different phase of life, things that you never thought about. And it's very genuine. This is not rocket science, but you don't know what you don't know sometimes. So if you've done the heavy lifting, you've saved at least $250,000 or more for retirement, you're within 10 years of retirement, or you've already been retired for about 10 years. This is no obligation other than your time, and it's complimentary. I don't know if you're gonna, if we can help you. I don't know if you're gonna want our help, but I can tell you this: this is, informative. Wherever it ends, whether we work with you, we do wonderful things together, or whether you just get great information, we always part friends. But I don't know how you can retire without a solid plan in place. If you don't have a written income plan, if you don't have all of these pieces of the puzzle, you really ought to sit with someone who's not going to charge you, who this is all they do all day, every day. I think it should be me, but I'm genuine, but whoever it is, someone who's going to take you through that before they start telling you what to do, where to do it, why to do it. Put you in charge. It's not rocket science. And I know the question you just asked me is, what's the difference between tax planning and tax preparation? World of difference. World of difference. So tax preparation is getting all those papers in order, going to your accountant and finding out what the damage was. What are you going to pay? What are you going to pay on, in taxes this year? Tax planning is understanding with what we know about tax rates right now, where they're going to be, what your future tax liability is going to be, not just next year, not just 5 years from now, but 10, 15, 20 years from now. If you're married, what's the tax liability going to be if there's just one spouse left? Understanding that in real numbers. We have amazing software that just breaks it down, puts the numbers in front of you, and it's very eye-opening. And at that point in time, when you know the future tax liability, then you can be proactive, not reactive. Totally different than tax preparation. You're like a sitting duck. If all you do is prepare your taxes every day and then all of a sudden wake up one day, every year, and wake up one day and now it's time to take out your required minimum distribution, you've got to take that out. Otherwise, Uncle Sam's going to penalize you at 50%. And now you got this huge tax bill that maybe you certainly could have headed off and controlled better. We can't control what future tax rates are going to be, but we can control where we take the money from and when. And there's a certain method to that. And you could potentially, by doing tax planning, save tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the most important thing is understand the difference. Your accountant, based upon what's already happened, they're really important. You probably need them. I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but based upon what you've already done, what is your tax liability? Tax planning, tax strategies is understanding your future liability and how to realistically and morally mitigate that. And that's always our mission. We want to show that to people, what your future tax liability is, and then see if there's a way to mitigate that. And there usually is. So again, if you don't know your future tax liability, great reason to go through our process. 623-792-5496.
You're listening to Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. That number one more time, 623-792-5496. Talking with Phyllis about the 5 key components of having a 5-star retirement plan. If you don't have all 5 of these things, well, you don't have a 5-star plan. Something's missing. You might have a 3 or a 4-star plan. Phyllis, if we don't think about our tax strategy, if we don't think about our investment strategy or income plan, something's missing. The other pieces of this, as we talk about it, would be planning for things like healthcare and long-term care, and also estate and legacy planning. I know a lot of times we spend a lot of time on this show focusing on the investment side and the income side, and certainly the tax planning side. Talk a little bit, though, about where the estate and legacy planning and the healthcare and long-term care planning fit into this as well, because we won't have a 5-star plan if we're missing out on those things.
That's absolutely correct. And when it comes to healthcare, according to Fidelity, a 65-year-old couple can expect to pay an estimated $285,000 for healthcare and retirement.
Gosh.
And that's just for normal healthcare expenses like prescription drugs, Medicare, Part B if there's a surcharge, your Medicare supplement. That excludes long-term care. Now, nobody wants to address this. Nobody thinks it's going to happen to them, but it happens far too often. And I've got to tell you, over the years, I've seen it. It's a very sad thing when plans become unraveled because there's got to be, crisis planning. Take money out when the market's down to pay for care that grandpa needs and that they never planned for. There are plenty of things that you can do strategically while you're solving for income, while you're doing your long-term plan that can put you in better stead. Have a plan for healthcare crisis planning. Okay, leverage your own money, whether it be through insurance products, whether it be through a reverse mortgage, whether it just be putting assets aside. Everybody's different, but this is something that, we have people sign off if they want to totally neglect it because it's that important. There are things, and everybody's different. Everybody's different, but we walk through all of your options, the ways that you can best leverage your money to plan for the worst, hope for the best. You can't ignore it. And when it comes to estate planning, just, let's say most people say, well, look, I gave my kids everything while I'm alive. I'm not worried about what's left. If I get to spend it, I want to bounce the last check. Okay, so maybe it's not important. And I get that. We're good parents, and I'm not going to not take a trip somewhere because we want to leave it to the kids. Having said that, without the right beneficiaries, without the right estate documents, Uncle Sam or the IRS can get more of your money than your own kids or charities that you like, so you need some planning. But you need powers of attorney while you're alive for healthcare and finance, even if you don't care about inheritance, even if you don't care about Uncle Sam getting more than their fair share. Even though he's not your uncle. But if you don't have powers of attorney for healthcare and finance that are properly put together, if you become incapacitated, even your spouse can't make decisions on your IRAs. It's your individual retirement account. So powers of attorney for healthcare and finance and living will, very, very important. We're not attorneys. We work very closely with attorneys, just like we do accountants, to verify all of our recommendations and numbers and give referrals out. But those are all the pieces of a good, solid retirement plan. Your income plan, your investment strategy, your tax strategy, your healthcare strategy, and your estate and legacy strategy. They all fit together to help you get to and through retirement successfully, and that is entirely what we take people through when we do our Retire Fit process. Pick up the phone if you don't have all these pieces and call us. No obligation, complimentary, 623-792-5496.
Talking today with Phillis Sachs-Pilvinus. She is founder and president of PSP and Associates. That number one more time is 623-792-5496. RetireWithPSP.com is the website if you'd like to learn a little bit more. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phillis, so stay with us. This is Retire Financially Fit with Phillis. We'll be back.
Why choose PSP and Associates to handle your retirement? Because we provide objective advice and concierge service. Investments, insurance, retirement planning, all at one location. We also partner with qualified attorneys and CPAs to provide complete financial strategies for our clients. We use a variety of investment and insurance products to custom design retirement plans that can give clients a clear look at their future. and we help you stay on the path toward financial independence. If you don't want to do it yourself, you want to work with a team to create a financial strategy for your future, give us a call, 623-792-5496. That's 623-792-5496. Would you rather get retirement advice from some TV show host who doesn't know anything about you, or PSP and Associates? 623-792-5496. PSP is a registered investment advisory firm. Phillis Saxbill-Venus is an investment advisor representative and insurance professional. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're going to build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. 1985, Phyllis, the year we went back to the future for the first time. 35 years later, we're going back to 1985 in our Retire Financially Fit time machine. Kind of hard to believe, Phyllis. It's been 35 years since Back to the Future came out. Of course, directed by Robert Zemeckis and had Michael J. Fox in the starring role. And he recently turned 59. So Marty McFly is almost ready to start taking money from his retirement accounts. Phyllis,
Wow.
can you even
Wow,
believe it?
I feel old. Oh, my goodness gracious. I feel old now, Jen.
Sorry
Thanks,
to do it.
thanks,
Sorry
thanks.
to do
My
it to
kids
you.
weren't even born.
Yeah, I know. Long time ago, a lot has happened. Other things in 1985, Phyllis, it was the first Live Aid concert. Calvin and Hobbes, that's when it first debuted in newspapers. Wow. Michael Jordan was Rookie of the Year in the NBA in 1985. And here's something that we first heard for the first time, Phyllis. I don't know if you were much of a gamer, but... You didn't play Super Mario Brothers very much, did you?
I didn't, but my husband loved it, and he showed my son when he was young enough. Yeah, I thought I'll just say this: I remember my husband used to watch it. Play it,
right.
And my son used to go push B, push B. He wouldn't push the button, but he used to go push B. I can just remember his high pitched squeal.
Oh,
it's the cutest little thing.
I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I played them. I played Mario Brothers, and to this day, actually, not too long ago, my kids have whatever the latest version is, but they were playing Super Mario Brothers, and there was one world that they got stuck on, and they couldn't figure out how to beat it. And I said, well, I'll beat it for you. And they're like, Mom, you know how to play Mario Brothers? And I said, move aside, kids. Move aside.
Oh, how funny.
I'll take care of Bowser for you. That's exactly
No, that
right.
wouldn't be me. That wouldn't be me. Maybe Grandpa could still do it.
There you go.
I know my son could.
Oh, man. Well,
Daughter too, probably.
yeah, I bet they both could. Well, yeah, a lot has changed since 1985, and I have some financial figures to talk about as well. And these, I think, are pretty eye-opening, pretty crazy to think about as well. 1985, Phyllis, the Dow ended the year at 1546.
Wow.
Right? Crazy. Because, we were right before all the craziness happened with the pandemic, we were pushing 30,000, right? And then now, 1546 is where the Dow was in 1985. Cost $2.75 to go to the movies. A stamp cost 22 cents, and the average cost of a new house was $89,000. But the interest rate on mortgages was hovering around 11.6%. Think about that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
11.6.
What would we do if we saw interest rates like that today? I mean, what kind of conversation would you be having with your clients if that was where interest rates were today?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, the only good thing for retirees is they'd probably be making more on CDs in the bank. We'd be doing a ton of those.
Right.
But, yeah, wanting to pay off their mortgages would be a huge deal. I mean, it just would be a whole different conversation. But we do kind of talk about that everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever see interest rates quite as high as when in 1981, 83, when I was building my first house. We built it because that was my husband's line. Mm-hmm. I remember them telling me that a construction loan was going to be 14.5%.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, I think we'll build part of it and then we'll build another part later. I was always practical. I just couldn't see that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. But yeah, kids don't realize how good these interest rates are.
Yeah.
Be a total different conversation all the way around.
Right.
But I like to believe that as we do our retire fit process, what I always say is, the thing is, what you've got is finite. You're not going to go back to work. Mm-hmm. You want to live your life independently on your own terms. So the way to do that is to take all your years of hard work, put in some work on the front end, plan for the worst and hope for the best. Right. Because could interest rates go historically high? Yes, they could. Could the market go up? Could it go down? Yes. Could there be a healthcare crisis? Yes. Big one. Big one, big one, mm-hmm. big one. Will taxes go up? Absolutely. This is the one I want to scream from the rooftop right now. I talk about risk. I talk about everything else, but I've got to tell you, taxes are on sale today, people. Taxes will go up. Definitely. When you wake up January 1, 2026, taxes will be back to where they were in 2017, which is a lot higher than they are now. And because of all of the money that's been printed lately, all of the stimulus, they're going to be higher than that. Wow. Huge, huge, huge thing that today proactively we help people plan for.
Yeah.
And plan for the worst.
Yeah, and we think about also, Phyllis, I'm looking at these numbers from 1985 and I'm thinking how frustrating for people who were maybe building or buying their first home back in the 80s when they had those interest rates, what they were back then. And now they're getting ready for retirement and interest rates are where they are now, where they're not really able to live off the interest like what they used to be told. Gosh, what a frustrating way to bookend your career, right? Oh.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Now I'm depressed. Not only do I feel old, but now no. That's why you've got to plan for the worst and hope for the best. And there is no one size fits all investment vehicle. That's why you need some in the market long term. You need different types of asset diversification, tax diversification. Again, understand everything that could face you and insulate and plan for the worst and hope for the best. And that is exactly the essence of what we do. Where do you want to be in retirement? Where are you in relationship to that? What are the things that you have not considered, that you didn't know that could come along and rid you of your hard-earned money? That's our whole process. Once you understand those things, now what are the different ways that we can insulate you, better prepare you, and make sure that you get to live independently and on your own terms? And if you're not in a position to live exactly as you want to, when would you want to know? Beforehand or later when it's too late? Probably beforehand.
Yeah.
So great reason when we look back to that time. Wow. Interest rates, all the things that we can think about, the prices of houses, everything. Wow, to go to the movies, $2.75, you can't even get a small popcorn for that.
No, you can't go to the Dollar Theater for that. They charge more than $1 at the Dollar Theater. Oh my gosh.
So great reason to pick up the phone and call us, and let's proactively build your plan so that you get to live your life independently and in your own terms, no matter what comes your way, because things will. And the number to get started, 623-792-5496. And remember, this is a process that is totally complimentary. Other than your time, you will need to put some time in and be prepared for it. But there's no obligation either, because you know what? Maybe you're already in a good situation. Or maybe you're not, but I'm not the one you want to hear it from. Whatever it is, I can guarantee you this, as we go through the process, we'll give you more information than you had going in. 623-792-5496.
This is Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. I am Jen Rezac alongside. The other thing to think about, Phyllis, as we are in our Retire Financially Fit time machine, looking back to the 1980s, when I was in elementary school, so this would have been the late 80s.
Rub it in.
Sorry. The principal at my elementary school retired. So he retired in probably, it was like 1987, 1988, something like that. And he just passed away a couple of years ago. And so to me, that was just shocking when I heard that, because first of all, when he retired, he wasn't near as old as I thought he was when I was in elementary school. But also just think about how different the world is today versus in the late 80s. What lessons can we take looking into the future, going back to the future here, Phyllis, and thinking about what could all of this potentially look like for us 20, 30, 40 years from now? That's a big thing to get your arms around.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so let's just think about this. Like I said before, taxes, we're in one of the lowest tax rate environments that we've ever been in, and yet we have more debt than, I mean, if you go back to what our deficit was like then and what our debt was like then, oh my gosh, we'll all be depressed. So we're not going to do that, but it's so much higher. So we have future tax consequences, people living so much long. That means he probably retired in his 50s. And how old was he when he died?
He was in his 80s, I know for sure. So he would have been in his 50s.
And he lived a long life for those days, right? Yeah. People are living much, much longer. You got to prepare for that. Again, with interest rates so low, when they go up, there's good news for the savers, but the other side is there's inflation that you got to prepare for, because inflation goes alongside of that. So there's an entirely different paradigm. Let's talk about healthcare. I mean, even with low inflation right now, the costs for healthcare are going up exponentially.
Yep.
Exponentially. You've got to prepare for that. You know, Fidelity comes out with a study every couple of years, and they say, I think the last time I read it was last year. I'm close. Okay. I'm going to paraphrase. A couple age 65, if they plan to live a 20-year retirement, they need $280,000 put aside for just the normal healthcare expenses, co-pays, prescription drugs, costs of the Medicare supplement. We're not even talking about the big one, the need for custodial care. Right now, today, the average cost of custodial care around the country, if you go into a nursing home, is $78,000, I believe.
Wow.
And assisted living around the country, about $36,000. Home health care, $18.50 an hour. And those costs are going up by 4.5% inflation right now, compounded.
Wow. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that is why it's important to get started with planning so you can be ready for all of these things down the road. That number to call Phyllis Saxpil-Venus at PSP and Associates, 623-792-5496 to get started on your Retire Fit analysis. That's 623-792-5496. This has been Retire Financially Fit with Phyllis. And as we close out the show today, we have one last flashback to 1985. That was when Columbia Records released We Are the World to help raise money for famine relief in Africa, part of that Live Aid concert. So, Phyllis? Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time. Investment advisory services are offered through PSP Financial Services, LLC, an Arizona registered investment advisor. PSP Financial Services is an independent financial services firm that helps people create retirement strategies using a variety of insurance and investment products. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to safety, security, or guaranteed lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investment products. Insurance and annuity product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. PSP Financial Services, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. You should talk to a qualified professional before making any decisions about your personal situation. We are not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. This radio show is a paid placement.